Okay, Virgil Van Dijk.
Yeah, so he is number 3. He's averaging 7.31. He's been great. He's been fantastic, and I think he probably won't get any of the big awards at the end of the season. I mean, there's a little time to go. Like I said, a quarter of the season, so there's a chance. But I think he's been brilliant, and just sort of the way he's carried himself throughout as well has been fantastic.
I don't know, I think he has been absolutely exceptional. 7.31 doesn't feel like anywhere near enough. 9.2 is what I'd like us to be kicking around on, really, if we're honest about it. I mean, there's both, and I think there is a little bit of, there's Virgil scale and there's just normal footballer scale as well, or even elite centre-back scale. I think he's been absolutely immense. And I think he's also, you've got to see him, and I think you saw it last season as well, and also you saw it in previous seasons. You've got to be churlish about this. It doesn't matter who's got the armband, but his leadership is so important to everything. He's constantly talking all game, he's constantly setting the tempo all game. You know, in loads of ways, he's the best playmaker in the country, and he plays centre-back. And then on top of that, he's the best centre-back in the country when it comes to doing all the horrible bits of being a centre-back as well. Yeah. You know, he's
I like that your biggest criticism of him maybe is could get a couple more goals.
Genuinely,
and that's silly, isn't it?
Yeah, no.
Like if you look at it, if we could just say one thing about our centre half, he could get 1 or 2 more goals. And it's always like you're always searching for things.
Yeah, you're always stretching to find little bits and pieces like that. You know, could he just sort of every now and again pop up with one? It'd be no bad thing. But I think that's also Liverpool's general set piece issue this season. We're recording this in the immediate aftermath of going out against Paris Saint-Germain, and they nearly scored from a couple of set pieces. I've despised the rise to prominence of the Arsenal set piece coach. That point back in December when he felt like he was the 3rd most famous man in the country and on the verge of, you know, much touted to win Rear of the Year. All that stuff was going on. I didn't like that at all, but I think this Liverpool side, in the PSG game's a good example of Liverpool was struggling to break them down because they were defending so robustly and so stoutly, but because of that they were giving free kicks away and there was a lot of set pieces coming in corners. We nearly get something from one. If we could, that'd be great. And you're right to say that's where you'd just like a little bit more from Virgil, a little bit, you know, throw as one of them. And they used to feel a bit more common than they do now, openers or stuff like that. I mean, obviously on his debut he quite literally scores the winner against Everton in the 84th minute. That, please. But obviously you can't do that all the time. Everything else is absolutely remarkable from him, and he's not going to win a major prize because Mo Salah's going to sweep the balls in this country at least. I mean, you know, European's going to be a little bit different now, but you know, I think, but that's absolutely fine. He'll be fine with that, Virgil, as long as he gets to lift the Premier League in front of a crowd for Liverpool. Because the one thing he knows about the previous captain is he never got to do that. Yeah. And if that matters to Virgil, and I'd like to think it does, you know, I want that's his Player of the Year award there when he gets to pick that up. And it won't be ideally, it should be at Anfield in front of all of us. Last game is when it'll be. He gets to carry it around the city. He has captained Liverpool to their 20th league title, and I could not think of a better man to do it.
No, I'll let him carry me around if he wants. Would certainly take that. Okay, so Virgil's number 3. You're going to go for.
We'll just say Mo Salah because it will be.
Yeah, so he's number 1.
He's number 1. Okay,
which feels right.
Yeah.
Because often with these things, it throws up sort of quirks of, you know, performances and also what you're judging them on, which is sometimes themselves. So I'm always pleased. That Mo Salah's number 1. Well done us.
But also,
7.4.
I was about to say, what's happened there is genuinely, whether he's being judged against himself or he's being judged in general, what's happening is loads of us who are doing this with you, and I do this show with you about once every sort of 5 or 6 weeks, but everyone's just giving him at least 8. And then every now and again, you've got to give him a 7, and maybe, just maybe, there's occasional 6 gets dropped in, but pretty much he's just getting an 8. And then every now and again, it'll go a bit higher as well, because he's just been that all the way through the season. He's been so reliable in terms of when people feed the ball out to him. He's been so involved in games, and I think that's hugely testament to the manager. With the way he set the team up, but I think it's also hugely testament to him. There are days where he's the best winger in the country, there are days when he's the best number 10 in the country, and there are days when he's the best goal scorer in the country, and then there's very occasionally days where he's all 3 at once. And that is, you know, I can't quite think of a footballer who's managed to embody so many attacking virtues at the same time in games or over the course of a season. I think it's a little bit of the and this is why it's really harsh on, for instance, Luis Diaz. The magic of where Liverpool ended up with their attacking options was they were all capable of being loads of things at once. That sort of classic front 3. What you need someone to, you know, win your horrible headers across the front post, hold it up and knock defenders over for a bit. Well, Roberto Firmino can do that for you. Yeah. But he can also do this other array of magical things. You need someone who will graft into tomorrow, but also at the key moment be able to run away from everyone on the pitch. Well, that's Sadio Mane. And then you've got Mo, who, as I say, is literally, you know, the best right winger, the best number 10 and the best centre forward all at once. And for the other players now, and the players who will succeed him and the players who succeed them all, like being pretty good at one aspect of being a forward means we're a bit like, he's all right. He's all, like Luis Diaz could well be. I think Luis Diaz has got this minor problem, which is however you define world class within reason, he's like one half rung below. And I don't mean like someone's got to be, if you know what I mean. Like if there's 12 world class players on the planet, Luis Diaz is as good as the 13th. And that's sort of where he is, because we've had this, and you've had Salah, and you've had this man who can do it all, and that is, you know, that's what he's done, and that's why I'm glad he's number one. He will win all the awards, I think, domestically over the course of the season. He will win the PFA, and he will win the Football Writers, unless the Football Writers all have a pint and say, let's just give it to Van Dijk, so we're a bit different. It will be Mo Salah, because that's what he's been. His fellow professionals know it. Everyone knows it now, apart from absolute mad heads on the internet who are determined to talk about other players as though they're in some way, shape or form in his class. The only, I think, footballer, all-round attacker who's in his class in Premier League history is Thierry Henry. I think the only goal scorers in Premier League history who've been in his class, Shearer and Kane, in terms of having all the different types of finish at your disposal. We often say Shearer's just grossly underrated. I think the only sort of playmakers in an attacking sense, full-on attacking playmaker sense who were in his class, I think in the Premier League era, are Gerrard and De Bruyne. Now, I think you're reaching that sort of level in terms of what he can do around the penalty area and playing people in. And then in terms of just being an exceptional, constant, wide presence, you're into the lads who actually don't score the goals, but everybody thinks are fucking great. He's as good as them at that bit. He's just amazing.